All right, this week our topic is going to be, actually for the next couple weeks, is going to be talking about specialized photos. This week we're starting with aerial and autopsy. All right, so really the idea of aerial photos is to get yourself up over the scene to see the whole scene. A couple of different reasons you want to do this. Say in a vehicle crash situation, to show the whole crash, it would be nice to get up over the scene. We can't always do that, but in a perfect world it would be really nice if we could. Other kinds of scenes. From time to time, maybe we have a crime scene that has part of the scene at location A and part of the scene at location B, and then there is evidence going between those two locations, or there is something to connect those two locations. So what you want to do is get up over the scene to show, here is the house, here is the other person's house, and look at the path going right through the backyards, the trees, where the fence gates are. These kinds of things to show how easy it would be for our suspect to get from location A to location B and do whatever nefarious thing it is that they did. So getting up over our scenes allows us to really portray to the jury what it is that happened here. Remember, we talk about visual storytelling. So getting up over the scene allows us to tell one more facet of this visual story. Even on an indoor crime scene, you can show the whole structure of the house, the yard, where everything else is. How do we get up over the scene? Well, if you got resources, you can do it by air. We can get ourselves a helicopter. Don't think we have any police departments here in Wisconsin with helicopters. State Patrol's got a couple of airplanes they pretty much use for traffic enforcement. They really don't give them to us as cops to use. But you never know. You do have folks who are private pilots. It seems like that's a popular hobby for some people, so you might just happen to have a fellow officer who is a pilot, and if you have an important enough scene, maybe you can use your resources there to get up over the scene and take some photos from a Cessna or something. Otherwise, you just never know. You might have community members that are concerned and who are private pilots or commercial licensed pilots who, again, as long as the PD pays for gas for the Cessna, we can get up over the scene and use it. Utilize your resources, but I've personally never been up in an airplane for taking photos for a crime scene. More likely, what we're going to be doing is using our resources like the fire department. Just getting 105 feet up in the air, which is the height of some of our fire department ladders. That is high enough to really get us a good aerial view of most crime scenes. Today we're starting to enter into the world of drones. And really, we don't like using the term drone in some respects. I know personally, my favorite term is aerial camera platform or remote controlled camera platform. I prefer those terms over drones because you do have some of these people who are severely anti-police and anti-government, and when they hear drone, they think that we've got U.S. Army grade predators with missiles and machine guns on them, and that is not what we have at the police department. We have these little helicopter things with a camera on the bottom. Basically it's a flying GoPro, and that is our reason for having it, is to get up over something and see it. You are starting to see some of the drones being used by our crash investigators. They haven't caught on 100%, simply still because we do have some of our anti-police feelings, and when people hear the word drone, they get all taken back. So we're taking baby steps into using our aerial camera platforms. One other option, which we do use a fair amount in some agencies, is the use of Google Earth. And it could be using the Google Earth program or Bing or any number of other ones, but getting satellite imagery of our scenes. We're not looking at that satellite imagery from the mindset of seeing what's there, because quite frankly, if you bring up certain satellite imageries, if you actually bring up the neighborhood I live in on Google Earth, my house is not there, is not in the satellite photo, and we built it 4 years ago. But if you bring it up on Bing, their satellite image not only shows my house there, but it actually shows my kid's swing set in the backyard, something that is a little bit newer to us. So you could have years old photography, you could have weeks old photography. Just kind of depends on when the different service providers are updating their maps for your particular jurisdiction. So what we end up with here is a map that is not useful for showing the evidence, but is again showing, like here, we've got the woods where a body was found, some bicycles were found, another set of woods, and, where the kids were seen last, and, where somebody else had saw some kids. And so we have, where witnesses saw stuff, and then where something happened, and, where evidence was found in relation to different aspects of our crime scene. Big picture here, and you're looking at, a neighborhood, and you're looking at streets and a business and the woods. So what we're trying to do here is just kind of give the jury a good overview, and then we will get down into our crime scene photographies with this overview. Aerial maps like this are great too for like police chases. Used a couple of aerial maps from Google Maps plenty of times when had high-speed chases with our agency, and it was really great to be able to show traffic stop initiated here, person ran here, this is the route they took, this is where we used the stop sticks, this is where we effected the arrest. And if there's ever any citizen concerns about whether or not our chase was safe or not safe, we're able to show, well, here are the neighborhoods we drove through, here are the streets, here is where the suspect took us, and here's where we went, etc., etc., etc. So, you're just using your resources at this point. But I would not use an aerial photo from Google Maps or Bing for a crime scene photo per se. I'd be using it more as a mapping tool like you see here. All right, so changing over from aerial photography, and that's a very specialized thing. And while it's all great to know your shutter speeds and everything for taking a picture from an airplane, that you should have it at 1/1000th, if not 1/5000th of a second because of the speed the airplane's moving, that's great. But like I said, I've never done it, and I've always ever just had to get up on a ladder from the fire department. You guys might be different. It'd be really cool if you do get a chance to go up in an airplane for taking photos, and I hope some of you do. But where you will potentially see the fact that you are going to be going out and taking photos that's a little bit special is your autopsies. Medical examiner's office will oftentimes be taking photographs too, so this is where, from an investigative standpoint, if the case is important enough, you need to be getting your photos. Remember, the body is a crime scene, so we are needing to do our overall, mid-range, and close-up with scale. The medical examiner's office is very well lit. Remember, we talked about with diffusing light and with some of our filters to make sure that some of what we're taking photos of, which tends to be really shiny, tends to be kind of wet and moist, we're not getting that reflection of light back at us. So you need to be very careful about how you're taking these pictures. You also need to be very careful about doing what the medical examining staff is telling you. This is their operating suite. They are performing this operation on the body. Yes, it is a dead body, so it's a dissection more than an operation, but we need to be alert to what they are doing. They have a process, and yes, there's evidence we want to see, and there's evidence we want to be having access to. We will get our access to that in time. There's nothing wrong with reminding the medical examiner that you need something, but don't be saying you need to do this first. The medical examiner has their process. One of the things that we want to make sure that we're getting shots of is identification shots. I realize this person is not a body at an autopsy, but the face. One thing that we want to do is get up over the face, get a picture looking straight on at the face, not going across the body, but actually looking straight at them with the camera. A profile picture is also very important, and preferably profile from both sides. People sometimes have scars, have little things on one side of their face, so looking at them straight on, a family member looking at the straight on picture can probably make a fairly good identification. But when you show the profile and you can see that, oh yeah, in profile, maybe they have a little scar under their eye over here. Maybe there's something about, like along the jawline here where they had fallen as a kid and have some abrasion of skin, whatever the case may be. There are uniquenesses that come into play that you catch when you're looking at somebody from the side versus when we're looking straight on at them. So I would always suggest, just like I believe it is suggested in your textbook, to get not only the fun on picture, but get a left and right profile shot, which is part of your assignment for this week, is going to be getting identification pictures. Likewise, a big part of identification, that is a huge part of our job at autopsy oftentimes too. The medical examiner has all kinds of medical records to prove why somebody died. That is the purpose of autopsy, is to determine the medical reason for the cessation of breath and circulatory response, why the heart stopped beating and why the person stopped breathing. What is the medical reason? Big part of our job is to identify who the person is. Just because they have a driver's license in their pocket doesn't make it them. So a large portion of why we're taking some of our photos oftentimes, and some of the work we do with our decedents, is to make sure they are who we think they are. So getting good imagery also of their tattoos. Surgery scars are the same, any uniqueness of the body. So if they have an interesting scar from a potential surgery, from an injury, you want to get good photos of that, including with scale. Tattoos, we want to get good photos, including with scale, and making sure that we can show what part of the body this is. So, you know, this image, our focus is the tattoo, but you can see clearly this is a foot. So this would be a tattoo on somebody's ankle. Likewise, this is obviously a forearm and a wrist going into the hand, but our image is detailed in on this tattoo that it's this purple heart with the flames and the crown and the blood coming off of it. So a family member seeing this would be able to say that, yes, that is my loved one's tattoo. You know, back in the day, I'm gonna say this, back like in the 90s, everybody got these barbed wire things, these little tribal things on their biceps. They were a dime a dozen. You know, there's a lot of what we call flash tattoo out there, where you get the stuff that's hanging when you walk in the tattoo artist studio, and there's just those things hanging up on the wall of generic, pictures of whatever. Those are still good, unique tattoos, but it's when you find the things like this that are probably customized, have been colored, have meaning. You know, here we've got some different script and language and something written. This has got unique meaning potentially, and maybe you've got somebody else with this tattoo out there. But when you start getting the facial pictures, the profile pictures, and some of these unique tattoos, and you present these to a family member for making a final identification, you probably are going to make a really good identification of your decedent. Alrighty, so that is really our talk for today. The textbook really explains it fairly well. I know some of the other chapters, the textbook gets really into some technical things, and it does too in the aerial photography here. But really it's, kind of understanding the background of why we're doing this also. And, I don't think the textbook kind of gets into that, which is why we're talking about some of that details. Why do we need aerial photography, and why do we need to take some of these identification photos at Autopsy? If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. I am happy to answer your questions. I'm up on Blackboard. I'm here in my office. You can get me by phone or email. Otherwise, I will talk with you next week.